Okay, Wednesday, December 20th, 2023. 4 days till Christmas Eve, 5 days till Christmas Day. All right, so yeah, I'll show you the monumental event we had yesterday here in Lviv. I'll save that for later as we walk by. So what else I want to talk about? Yesterday I was in the old town. I actually made a video, but I scrubbed it because someone jumped into the video and started talking and everything. And it's like there's a lot of people in the city center trying to sell you stuff, get you to do stuff, all type of stuff. So it was. Yesterday I had to go to the center just to take care of some stuff in person. It's not fully automated here. It's getting there. Every day there's an app. Every day there's something getting us closer to European standard. They have now electronic bus tickets. You buy the ticket from the driver and you get this printout with a QR code instead of these like little paper slips that you have to put in like a hole punch, like a manual hole punch, like very old school. So they're phasing those out. I mean, every day it's like some little by little things are changing here for the better. So, but what else I've noticed in Lviv, and I had a chance to meet with some of my friends and colleagues over the weekend. We went out for pizza on the weekend and, kind of had a year-end type of celebration. And one thing that came up was like, we can't help noticing all the apartment buildings going up. There's a lot of new apartment construction, a lot of renovation activity. And they had told me they're now having house loans, mortgages to qualified people. And normally that's like I believe it's like a husband and wife, married couple under 35, that can prove steady employment. And so that's mostly catering to the people working in IT. They would fit that bill. And it's, I think, a 20 or 25 year loan at 8%, which, and a lot of these people have been working 10 years, and married couple working 10 years at a place like EPAM or SoftServe or, one of the other big IT companies here. And we have a ton of medium-sized companies like 50 to 400 people. There's a lot of those kind of companies like Intel. I think Intellius has already gotten bigger than that. They grow pretty fast. They get on some project with some big company in Germany or America, and then suddenly their growth explodes. So if you're like a couple working in a company like that, you're probably with 10 years, 10 years experience, you're probably pulling down combined $50,000 to even $80,000 a year. And if you're like a software architect, with strong coding skills, it can even be more. You could even, and then your wife is also like a coder or something. There's people here, couples pulling easily 6 figures, and then they get these housing loans, and so they're buying up the apartments. A lot of them have already had a lot of cash saved up, so they're buying up investment apartments. One thing they don't have here is like a stock market, or any place. It's really hard to, this is a good problem that some people here have. There's not many places to park your cash. I mean, you can do a bank deposit in local currency and get some 8-10%, but no one knows what's going to happen to local currency, right? It can devalue, and that would wipe out all your gains. Or you can do a deposit in dollars, but you'll get like a dollar interest rate, which is like a 0.5% savings rate or something. It's like ridiculously low. They don't have 5% cash deposits here like in America for dollar. At least I haven't heard of it. I was asking my wife about it, and she was like just telling it's like a few percent, but even 5%, it's not much. I mean, a lot of people I know do this. They do these cash deposits because obviously dollar cash deposits are ultra safe, at least in people's perspective here. So then what's the other thing? So if you have you've been working 10 years and you got your apartment and you bought it 10 years ago here, and 10 years ago apartments, I'm trying to think, 2013, You could buy like these Soviet ones in the back, you could buy for like $10,000. And these new apartments, like family size, were like 50 grand, like for 100 square meters. I mean, it was a different dynamic than it is now. So if you're already settled down, you know, like this is a new building built by a Polish company. It's called Kaiser or something like that. They even got the Blazenko in now. It's like every day something's changing. Blazenko is like our version of 7-Eleven. So, yeah, so now we have this like building boom, you know, fueled by credit. And I mean, like the terms are hard. They're not just giving it away for free. I mean, there's a pretty high bar to get these loans, but there's enough people that are qualified that it's tripped off a boom. And what I've noticed is that there were a lot of projects that were stopped, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. They ran out of money and they're restarting. I don't know if they were restarting under new owners, like, you know, the old owners bankrupted and then the bank got a hold of that's what he told me. My friend told me that the old owners would have bankrupted. The bank picked up the property, the bank was sitting on it, and now maybe the bank sold it off to a new developer. I'm not sure what happened to all the people that made the deposits. I guess I did that. I took risk on a new construction when I bought my place. I mean, it was just a drawing when I bought it, but I got it for $44,000, you know. So, you know, it was like, you know, I got the high reward in the end. But a lot of people who buy into these new projects, you know, there's a reason why it's high risk. Most of the people I know lost. They didn't find the right building company. But, you know, how did I do it? I actually hired a lawyer and had him check out 2 or 3 of these building companies that I was looking at. You know, do the real due diligence. Who are the owners? You know, how much money do they have in the bank? I think even he had one of his junior lawyers call them up and interview them to see how forthcoming they were with their information, how willing they were to disclose their financials. And it turned out Avalon and Arum were the 2 best companies. And I think there's another one now, Lev, that has a pretty good reputation. But I know when Lev buildings don't have balconies, they just build boxes. The buildings have no personality. They're just, you know, 60 square meter, you know, boxes. They're like for, you know, bachelors or bachelorettes, professionals, you know, people starting their IT career probably 5 years in, not yet married. And then they buy these little, you know, 30 to 60 square meters, you know, that's like 350, 400 square feet to 600 or 700 square feet apartments to get their life going. So, yeah, we have a burgeoning middle class here, professional class, I would say, coming up here in Lviv. You know, it's coming up really strong. Yeah, it's really interesting, you know, the whole housing and investment thing. But now back to the investments, like, as I said, there's no stock market here. And I think this is like the $1 billion opportunity. I don't have the means to set up a stock exchange or go do investment banking and find the, you know, companies that are really growing and, you know, offer to inject cash into them and then list them out on the stock market, and then all their owners get like really rich and the company gets a whole bunch of money to grow fast, you know, that they can go expand into new markets, you know, get into new technologies. I don't have the, I'm not this, I used to work in that business, but I couldn't do it alone. But this would be the opportunity here to create, you know, retail investment products for Ukraine. That is, you know, that is the opportunity. Here, I just show you this building here behind me. So this is the Globus project, and this was stalled and then it resumed. It was stalled for years, and now it's like resumed, but it's under the same company. They suddenly got a second win, and now they're finishing this thing up. It's like really moving. I mean, this even before COVID was in the it was not done. I mean, and this thing had started even before my project at Avalon broke ground. So it's really interesting how this is picking up, and I think this is going to open in about a month. I think it looks like it's about a month till opening. You know, they're just finishing up the exterior, and people can start renovating the apartments that they bought, and they can start, you know, doing interior stuff, and people will start moving in there probably by summer. you'll start having the first residents move in there into this place here. And they got a shopping center, then they have an office tower. So it's like all in one. You can do your shopping, go to work, and live all in the same building. It's probably too efficient. You have to have, there's no exercise engineered in the routine like I have. Like I have to walk 1.5 miles each way to the gym. And then I do the gym workout, and I'm already up over 3 miles, 4 miles a day just on the commute in the morning to the gym, up by foot. So yeah, the retail investment, creating retail investment products, like getting companies, fast-growing Ukrainian companies listed on the stock market. And with the rebuilding, I think it's going to go through. Europe found a way around Orban. I was going to do a whole rant on Orban, but it seems like they're just shutting him down. Poland elected a pro-European prime minister, so he lost his best friend. The old Polish prime minister was like a nationalist, and those two guys were like two peas in a pod, and he lost him. And the Slovakians, they know that there'll be consequences if they do this nationalism stuff too much. So they're going along with the rest of Europe. It looks like so they understand that united we stand, divided we fall. The Russians are looking to divide and conquer, and I think everyone gets that now. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that. Now I'm more looking like some way, I don't know, to bring this idea here to Ukraine. Find some people who would have the connections and the clout, and because it obviously requires change in the banking regulations. It's like a whole, they need an SEC, like a Securities and Exchange Commission here. It would be a whole new ministry would have to be raised to regulate this. But there would be a ton of companies, like with the reconstruction, there would obviously be building companies, like the ones making these office parks. And right now these guys are like, who are making all these buildings, they're all just private wealthy individuals self-financing. But if they're getting like money from the public, doing an IPO or something, they could raise a lot more money and do a lot more. We need a lot of work on infrastructure, for example, things like this. So there could be infrastructure bonds, government issued bonds, things like this. And then these IT companies, boy, I would love to find EPAM when it was like 400 people, right? EPAM went up from like $1 to I think it was like a $400 or $600 stock last year. I haven't looked at it in a while. I got out of it. I got into Nvidia. But I was in EPAM for a while. But it went up like a lot. It went up like Bitcoin a lot. It had that kind of meteoric growth. And there's a ton of other companies here in Lviv that if they had some capital injected into them, they could, have a sales team. They could afford a sales team in Europe and America and hit all these like small towns, medium towns where there's like all kinds of people needing IT services. I mean, it's a ton of things here. There's going to be building ammunition factories, and there could be like easily like 300 or 400 companies, listed companies here, all with like market caps of over, $10 or $20 million, which it's not much by Western standards, but that would be a good start here. And believe me, that those companies would grow, as things come back here. So now I'll show you the surprise. I'll have to flip the camera around and let's see if this. So yeah, with the McDonald's. Yeah, the McDonald's opened up. They're still doing construction. They're still building, but they got it open enough to to start selling the burgers while they keep on finishing up here. I just don't have a good view of it from here. We're getting there though. We'll get a sunrise view of McDonald's instead of, and then when we're in Virginia Beach, I'll just flip it back around. Yeah, so here I am. Let me just see if the microphone is still not fully confident in this sound equipment. I'm still getting used to it. So, but I'm on the phone today, not the GoPro. So I bought extra sound, but let me just get you this. Yeah, so this was done a lot faster than I thought. I didn't think this was going to open until New Year's. They got it open like last night, December 19th. It's not even it was like a Tuesday night. I thought there would be a grand opening on Christmas, you know, with balloons and Ronald McDonald and something like that. But I think it's McDonald's, right? American corporation. They want to start getting the cash going as quick as possible. They'll probably have a formal grand opening probably at some point. I would think, well, like a festive one. But it's up and running, and they're just finishing off all the exterior, you know, the landscaping, and, you know, they had to rebuild some of the roads here. But, you know, one thing in McDonald's in Ukraine, and I kind of miss about McDonald's in America, there's two things. One is the apple pie. They only have cherry pie in Europe, I think, overall. I think in Poland I saw an apple pie, and they also have like oatmeal cookies there, which they don't have in America. And then the pancakes, the breakfast pancakes, those are not a thing here in Europe at all. That's a strictly American phenomenon, is the American breakfast menu, you know, with the hot cakes. But they do have the McMuffins and the sausages and all that kind of heart attack stuff. But yeah, you see there are guys working here, you know, finishing off. So yeah, you can see there's another building that just popping up out of nowhere. That's actually been going on a while. I can't say that popped up out of nowhere, but it's starting to pick up the pace. You can see more workers are working on this one over here. Yeah, you can see all the guys here are working hard. They got the drive-through going. So yeah, this is cool. I mean, it's a sign of progress. I mean it's right. I need to team up with all the other parents in the building that we don't let our kids hang out there and get fat. That it's only like you can only go there when there's a good report card or on the most special of occasions. I mean, you shouldn't be consuming food like that and more than once in a quarter. You know, I think maximum once in 3 months. If you're consuming McDonald's anything more than like 3 or 4 times a year, you're going to wreck your health. That's at least the message I hope to get across with the neighbors, because a whole bunch of us are either have kids or are going to have kids. You know, so like there's a whole bunch of kids in the area that are around 1. You know, so those will all be friends with my daughter. And then there's a whole bunch of kids on the way. You know, you come around this part of town, you'll see that there's a ton of kids that are be on the way. So we have to have like some parent group, because obesity is just not an option. You know, and McDonald's suppresses all the research that whenever there's a McDonald's restaurant, obesity in the area increases. But it's just obvious. You can see it with your own eyes. I mean, you even see it in Norway. You know, the more McDonald's they open, the obesity numbers even in Norway have been slowly going up. You know, I mean, if you went to Norway 20 years ago, everyone looked like an Olympic athlete or a supermodel, or, you know, and now there are some chunky people, you know, starting to pop up. So yeah, this is something we can't, you know, there's nothing we can do about these corporations, you know, popping up everywhere and selling us their food. But I think as parents, we can at least organize and, you know, educate, and then, you know, and here in Ukraine, like versus Norway, you do have a little bit more control over your kids. I mean, in Norway, your kids can, you know, sue you stuff. It's crazy, actually. You know, if you get into too much disagreement with your kids, you can get in a lot of trouble over there. You know, so here it's a little bit more like old school America. You know, so yeah. I mean, anyway, I would think though, by the time my daughter's like 5 or 6, we're going to move into a bigger house. You know, closer to what's called Streetsky Park. There's a British school there, a school, you know, that's on the British standard. So, you know, she can go to school in the UK, pass all their entry exams for the colleges, and then that would easily, you know, that would in turn also make it easier for her to get into US schools, because you know, the British standard and the American standard are quite similar as far as you know, curriculums and what have you, at least in the private schools in the US. So she would be more than ready to go to college in America, you know, in 18 years. But Yeah, and then here's the Avalon. Yeah, there's a lot of good land around here. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, you can see all this buildings. This is where I live. So yeah, there's a lot of underutilized land here, and I think also this building boom is, not only the young people getting the loans, but there's a lot of migration, internal migration. People are moving, obviously, from eastern Ukraine, Kiev area, and all these areas closer to the front, more towards western Ukraine, closer to Poland, and that just goes without saying. That's obvious. That drove like the initial wave of apartment buying last year, but now there's this like I said, there's this new wave. But yeah, we do also have that effects of that migration. That was more last year. This year it's like this middle class building boom. That they're able to access financing, access credit, buy apartments. People are doing renovations. And that's going to be an opportunity. I mean, already there's a labor shortage here in the construction trades. And once it's possible to expatriate money, to get your money out of Ukraine, because right now it's very hard, to buy dollars and send dollars out. There's obviously with the war, they want to keep the money in the country and, and keep the consumption internal. But once that's lifted, when we get into a rebuilding mode, we can bring like armies of foreign construction workers here, from the Philippines, from, India, Pakistan, Middle East, and it'll even go more, because there's like a ton of old buildings here that need to be renovated. There's just a ton of commercial buildings that need new facades. They're like they were built like 400 or 500 years ago. Some of these buildings, I think in the 16 or 1700s, more like 300 years ago, if you go in the city center, and they need to be completely gutted and renovated, and like you see in Oslo, they've taken the very old buildings and put a whole new facade and restored them to their original look. And they did that in Estonia too, but that takes incredible skill, incredible amounts of manual labor, skilled manual labor, like guys like restoring stone sculptures and everything. So yeah, it's when we get this NATO and EU thing, it's gonna, like I said, there's just so many things that can happen here. Stock market, construction, whole new businesses, factories, building materials. It's just and I don't have time to do all that. That's why I'd like to see a stock market here, and you can just like work hard at your job and then buy into these things, and then just sit on it and be like half the people in America that are over 50. They've made money off of their 401ks and pension funds and everything, have put them over the top, to where they have freedom in their life, So yeah. Anyway, that's all I got. Drop me a line if you have questions about Ukraine or anything else. Glad to answer them. Take care. Bye-bye.